When I first saw the original reveal trailer for Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, I have to admit I was very skeptical, but still mildly amused and surprised with the idea of it. We've seen Rovio put their popular Angry Birds in a variety of genres, including a kart racer and an RPG, but PopCap went above and beyond with their popular mobile IP, trying something that no one would expect with a competitive third-person shooter. As the game got closer to release, I slowly became more interested in the game from seeing all the unique classes and charming character design and art style. Sadly, I'd end up having to wait quite a bit longer for the PC release, but once I finally got the game in my hands, I found that the game lived up to the hype quite well despite a few minor issues in the PC version at launch, and the lack of a few things that could have made it a better experience. Let's pick out the weeds and see exactly what went right and wrong with this unique shooter. Being a purely multiplayer-focused game, gameplay is the main focus here with Garden Warfare, and there isn't any type of campaign for those of you looking for some strong solo content. Across its various modes, it does cover a decent amount of playstyles, however, and most should find something that resonates with them. The staple gameplay mode and main selling point of the game is definitely the Gardens and Graveyards mode, which takes a page from the Battlefield series where the zombie team will be attempting to capture gardens and transform them into graveyards. It is up to the plant team to defend those points because once they are lost, they're gone for good. I really like that once the objective is lost, it was permanent because these types of game modes often end up being a boring tug of war otherwise. I do wish, however, that they offered a reverse version of this mode because plants are stuck taking on a defensive role here for every round. I do realize that this type of mode doesn't make much sense in the game, though. The defining aspect of this mode that made it my personal favorite are the finale objectives. After the zombie team has captured all of the gardens on a particular map, they have one final unique objective that is different depending on what map you're playing on. Examples are a payload-style objective where the zombies will be pushing a giant golf ball through a course and reach a hole at the end, and another where you'll be planting dynamite in multiple spots to blow up a building. Another unique aspect of this mode is the boss mode that one player on each team can take part in. In this role, you'll either take control of Crazy Dave or Dr. Zomboss, who are flying high above the map. You're presented with an overhead view of the map that has enemy and teammate locations, and you're capable of dropping in radar devices, airstrikes, and healing stations. However, in order to make use of these, you'll need to collect a currency that will drop down from the top of the screen in a very similar manner to traditional Plants vs. Zombies, which is a neat little touch for fans. These bosses, while not immortal, will have a hefty amount of health, so players will want to work together to bring them down from the sky. Outside of this mode, there is also a team deathmatch style mode called Team Vanquish, the bomb planting gnome bomb mode, and a new mode that is coming soon called Vanquish Confirm that requires you to grab a special orb after kills to earn the points. Special mix playlists are also available, as well as classic modes of each game type that offer an even playing field due to the removal of class variants and character upgrades. One complaint that some have is the fact that some of these class variants and character upgrades were overpowered, leaving the game an unbalanced mess for some, and these classic modes do fix this problem for those who want a completely balanced experience. I personally never took much of an issue with the variants and class upgrades, as they were probably one of my favorite aspects of the game. It is truly impressive just how many variants, upgrades, and vanity items they have packed into this game. Depending how often you play, you could end up playing for months before unlocking everything, which, depending on how you look at it, could be a good or a bad thing. It is somewhat frustrating how long you might have to play to unlock a specific class variant you have your eyes on, but I loved how every time I started up the game, I knew I was working towards unlocking some new content and not just trying to make some ranking number get higher. The classes and upgrades you'll be unlocking are all associated with a specific character type on each team. Both the plant team and the zombie team both have 4 unique classes, and they aren't simply mirrors of each other either, as each team has their own unique set of classes that plays very different from the other options, and covers a very specific role type. I like that each class seemed to have some type of utility or feature that allowed you to help out on the team, even if you weren't the most skilled player too. The plant team is the run-and-gun pea shooter, the medic-like sunflower, the tactical and long-range cactus, and the stealthy yet quite tanky chomper. As I said, the zombie side does not simply mirror these class archetypes and offers roles that are more suited for going on the offensive rather than full-on defend. making it clear that each side was balanced with the gardens and graveyards mostly in mind. The zombie team consists of the standard infantry type unit being the foot soldier, the engineer who is great at getting around the map and setting up teleporters for his team, the scientist who covers the medic role in a very different manner than the Sunflower with different healing abilities, and lastly the hard-hitting, tanky all-star who will be charging to the front lines to the objective. I loved how each of these classes truly felt unique, each having their own primary fire as well as 3 cooldown abilities that further define their role. Learning how to use each class and their abilities was a very easy process thanks to a quick progression system early on where you'll be unlocking each ability as you level up that class. The game sports a unique leveling system for classes that actually requires you to complete challenges during matches to earn stars, such as killing a certain number of players or even more challenging types that the average player might struggle with. Thankfully, the game does provide the ability to skip challenges using a special card that you'll earn through what is perhaps the most addicting quality of Garden Warfare. Every time you play the game, you'll be earning an in-game currency called coins, and doing pretty much anything in a game mode will result in you earning plenty of these. They are spent at something called the Sticker Shop to buy sticker packs, which are essentially packs of trading cards that will reward you with new class types, vanity items, ability variants, consumables to be used during matches, and the mentioned challenge skips to bypass difficult challenges. As I mentioned, there is a very generous amount of content to unlock through these, which really will surprise you. Unfortunately, they do allow players to purchase coins with real money to buy packs, which does raise some valid pay-to-win arguments when not playing in classic mode. On the lighter side of things though, however, PopCap has provided, I believe, 3 hefty content updates to date since the original launch in Xbox One, and each of these has been completely free. While Plants vs. Zombies is primarily a competitive experience, it actually has a co-op mode specifically for the plants called Garden Ops. In this mode you'll be teaming up with 3 other players as the plant team to protect a garden from waves of randomized zombies. On the 5th and 10th wave, Dr. Zomboss will run his slot machine to decide special boss waves as well, which can result in rewards or even super boss waves if you're lucky. This is a great extra mode that has potential to feel fresh for a long time thanks to the randomization and multiple maps you can play it on. While Garden Warfare definitely has a lot of great features going for it, it still isn't free of flaws either, which I experienced in the PC version. The most notable frustrations are voice chat that is forced on, leaving you in noisy chaos until you spawn in and mute everyone, the fact that there is no form of text chat, and not being able to party up and join in a competitive mode with friends. It should be noted, however, that as of the time of me writing my review, there is a PC patch in the works that will fix some of these problems and is either already out or will be very soon. Outside of these technical issues, it really is hard for me to complain. I do wish, however, that there were more than 4 maps for gardens and graveyards, considering it is easily the best and most popular mode. Also, while there may be this glaring handful of technical issues, some basics such as controls really stand out, and I found no problems with the PC controls. Also, for those who prefer a controller, they have it set up where you can instantly swap over to one and watch the dynamic UI change to support use of it. Garden Warfare is a beautiful game, and while maybe not sporting the detailed graphics seen in other Frostbite 3 engine games, it has its own unique art style and charm that is very fitting with the Plants vs. Zombies theme. The animations and models of each class are surprisingly detailed, and it's impressive to think of all the modeling work that was done considering the huge variety of cosmetic items and plant and zombie varieties. I was also happy to be playing the game at a steady and smooth 60 frames per second for a majority of the time, as sometimes these console ports suffer from frustrating 30 frames per second locks and other visual drawbacks that shouldn't be present in a PC game. I was just as impressed with the sound design of this game as I was with the graphics, which really surprised me on both fronts. You'll hear a lot of familiar sounds if you've played a game in the series, but all the voices and other various sounds that each class makes is so comedic and adorable. Jumping super high as the pea shooter when using their hyper ability feels so much more fun thanks to the cute sounds of excitement the little guy makes. Music is also superb in the game, with the standout example being the happy little tunes that play in the gardens that can later turn into something a bit more spooky and zombie-ish when the zombie team takes over and turns it into a graveyard. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare will easily end up in one of my favorite games of 2014 and one of my favorite multiplayer games ever. It takes a franchise that one would think has no right to exist in this genre and creates something that truly stands out from the rest thanks to its unique collection of quirky classes and the Guards and Graveyards mode, which takes objective-style gameplay to the next level. PopCap has already proven they are dedicated to their fans who are willing to throw down $30 on the game by providing multiple free content updates, and I look forward to seeing what else they have in store in the future. I can definitely see the game having a lot of potential down the road for EA if the game gets into enough gamers' hands, and if they work with PopCap, it could maybe even become Origin's Team Fortress 2 someday with proper support. The Game Cavern gives Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare a 4.5 out of 5.